In the second video, I'd like to introduce you to some of the other features of the tablet textbook. If this was a paper textbook, then questions like these would be answered by writing the answers in the spaces provided and circling as it says here. But because it is a textbook, it actually gives you the interactive option of circling and answering by simply clicking on the screen. So for example, if I demonstrate how you can choose the various answers by clicking on them, you can see that circling happens automatically. Similarly, over this side we have A, B or C. If I think it is A and B and C, it's very simple to answer the questions interactively. A space, such as this one, gives us the opportunity to type. So what it would be the opposite word of mean? I'm not quite sure, perhaps generous? Let's see if that one's correct. So I'm going to press input. Now to get rid of the keyboard, once I'm fed up of it, I would click the down there. Now you can see that generous has appeared in the space. Now once you've done these answers, you can quite easily check whether they are correct or incorrect by looking over here. There is a new icon which has appeared, which looks like a checkbox, a tick box, and this is what you must press if you want to see whether the answers are correct or incorrect. So if I click that, you can see that in fact I've got all of the answers wrong so far, not doing very well at all. Now if this was used by the teacher in a classroom, what I would suggest you do was give this activity to the whole class to conduct perhaps in groups or in pairs, and give the tablet to just one of those pairs or groups and ask them to put the answers in the tablet, just as I have done a moment ago. Now once they have put the answers in and everybody else is happy that they've finished as well, take the tablet back and display their answers by reconnecting it to the projector. Now before you click the checkbox, you will be able to then go through the answers as a group. So as a whole class, say, you know, prawns, is that the right one? People will have different ideas, so get them to talk about which of these answers are correct and incorrect. When we are happy as a class that we might have the correct answers, then you might want to check. And we can find out which ones are right, which are wrong. The ones that are wrong, we can say, okay, well, what do you think the correct answer must be? So let's have a look at honest. Perhaps somebody suggests dishonest, so let's try that. Dishonest. Is that the correct answer? Input. Close the key, and again I can check by clicking on the check button. Now we've got an answer right. So with the class, together we can go through all of these answers and check that they are right or wrong. Now once the answers have been inputted, you can check the answers, but after that you can actually undo the answers. So all of the answers I've entered so far can be removed by clicking on the return button like this. Oops, I missed it. Return. Oh, I didn't miss it. There we go. Return. Now you can see that it says answers are deleted. So all of the answers are deleted. If I don't want it to delete the answers, I can quickly press undo there and it will leave my answers there. So not checked, but not removed either. So there's another type of question that you might get. If I just move to let's see, this one, I think. Yes. So here we have some A, B, C or D questions. In some questions in the textbook you'll get options such as this. So there are only 3 options, 1, 2 or 3 to input here. So you just have to select 2 and input, and the answer 2 will appear. And here we're inputting a letter, A, B, C, D or E or F. And so I'm going to go D, and I'm going to input, and the D answer appears. And just like before, you can see down here you have the return button, but there's no check button. The reason there is no check button is because these answers, for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure why, the textbook doesn't supply the tablet doesn't supply the right or wrong answers. In this case, you have to go to the teacher's book or do the quiz yourself and figure out what the answers are to feed back with the students. So in this case, there is no quick way to check right or wrong. You have to find the answers yourself. So in this case, all we can do is get rid of the answers we've put in. If we think some of these are wrong, then perhaps we just click on that, and answers are deleted, and we're back to square one again. Okay, there's one more tool I'd like to talk about, and that is this one here, which is the sticky note. If I click on that, you can see there are two options, the text sticky note and a voice recording. Let's have a look at the text. If I click on that, I see a sticky note that appears. There are three colors that I can choose from, and then I can type my message onto the sticky note, several lines if I want to, and then when I'm finished typing, I can click anywhere outside on the white parts of the screen and it will close down. So that note there is just going to stay there forever in that position if I leave it there. However, you can move it around by holding your finger down on the screen in the position where the text is. You can drag it around and position it where you want to have it for the rest of time. Now, this note will remain there from module to module. As long as you don't delete it, it will never disappear. And the use of that perhaps is for teachers to write notes for each other and for themselves about this activity, perhaps to remind them of a particularly good video that links to this topic, or perhaps a worksheet that they really think is very good to use with this activity. And this could be a note that they write for the next teacher who teaches this this module, or it could be for themselves teaching the next module. It's not so much useful for students in the most part. It's really more for the teachers. Similarly, you could get a voice recording note and just leave yourself a note by recording. You can see that the counter is counting up as it records my voice, and I just press the red button again to stop. I can listen to that again. And you can see that the counter is counting up as it records my voice. So it's a recording, and if I want to keep that recording, again I just click anywhere outside the note, and I can move that and position that somewhere else as well. So there's a little note for myself, reminding myself to do something, or perhaps reminding the next teacher that there is something useful to know about this activity. Students could perhaps be using these sticky notes, though. There are places, if you have a look at the top of this screen here, there are places in the textbook where it actually suggests that a student use a sticky note in order to answer a question. So the question here is to listen to the three dialogues and then just explain what they are talking about. So what I would do in this case is hand this tablet to a group of students, as usual. Other students are in groups as well and talking about the answer to this question in groups. However, one group actually brings up the sticky note and maybe clicks on the voice recording, and one of the students in the group records his voice explaining what he thinks the speakers in this group, in this dialogue we're talking about, finishes by pressing that, and then brings the tablet back to the teacher plugs it into his projector, and then when you are ready with the speakers plugged in as well, you could click on that and listen to what the students have to say. Explaining what he thinks. And you can imagine how useful a voice sticky note would be in terms of pronunciation, conversations that you can have students do based on questions like this. In groups, in pairs, have students ask each other these questions, but instead of just asking each other the questions, bring up a sticky note, record the dialogue between the two students, and once the dialogue is finished, click close, and then maybe pass the same tablet to another group, and the next group records themselves having the same dialogue, having practiced it once or twice. And once you've got 2 or 3 of these dialogues, you could give the tablet back to the teacher plugs it into the speaker and the projector again, and the whole class could then listen to the dialogue.
Having the same dialogue, having practiced it once or twice.
So you can imagine how useful this would be in terms of checking on the production skills of your students. Now, if I just show you that again, I deleted the unwanted file by going to the end here where there's a little dustbin, a little trash can. Do you want to delete it? Yes, I do. Okay. So those are the tools that you can use to interact with your students using the tablet.